What's up, guys? It is Silent Tom here, and we have resurrected from the grave the deck check, and is aptly fitting. Resurrecting from the grave, we've got some Granblues here. Asian Danny, he's going to go through the deck, explain the intricacies of probably the clan that has the most intricacies. He's been playing it for a long time, so he's probably one of the best people to be talking about it. So get started.
Let's say well, obviously this clan has 8 crits, 4 stands, and 4 heals, so it's pretty standard. I'm actually enjoying the 8 crits because one of the key cards is Banshee, very useful. Soul Charge to draw one, especially when it helps cards like Cutlass and Basskirk's skill blast ability. Starts off, I play 4 Samurai Spirit. One of the, I say, #1 most important unit to be in the drop zone, because you can swap it up with all the other units you have. So, since the ability to retire any other Granblue unit, so it's very useful. So you can swap out the dead level 3s in hand to create supporting, to drop more support. For Danny, with behind Basskirk swings for 20, so it's pretty useful. And as well as that, having them as rear guards, so you can swing for 16 at least, or 18 by Ruin Shade and Captain Blue Blood.
So you've got 3 null guards. Do you want to explain the choice of 3 and not 4 or 2 or none?
4 can be a little bit too much, and 3 is like exactly the right number because you can discard your Nightmares, your Samurai Spirit, and cards you don't need from your hand to drop zone. Alright,
so Granblue have 2 other seemingly pretty powerful grade 1s in the Seahorse and the Evil Shade. Do you want to explain why you don't use those?
Well, I'll start off with Evil Shade is pretty good sometimes, but I reckon the ability of sending two more cards from the deck to the drop zone can burn the deck out, can deck out a lot faster.
That's just for the guys at home. That's something that's very interesting with Danny's style. Is even with Ruin Shade and stuff like that, he really doesn't like using the ability unless he has to. So you know, you don't have to fill the bin 100% of the time, because you will kill yourself. And that's another thing. I think the games that I have with Danny are probably some of the longest games. So if he was milling himself more, he would he'd definitely be losing those games.
Well, the Seahorse is very similar to Ammo for Kagero. So when you land the attack, you discard 1 card to the drop zone and you draw a card. So the reason I don't play it, because since you have Samurai Spirit as one of your top priority supporters, because a 6k Seahorse behind a Ruin Shade will swing for 15, so it's not enough. It's not really that big a boost. I mean,
with like you said, 15k is not enough. This, especially with the latest set, you really need to look for 16k, because there's just too many 11k Vanguards out there.
I play 4 Blue Blood because it's stable and standard. Because you know, 10k level 2 also is almost identical as the level 3, as the opponent level 3s, unless they have 11k Vanguards. And Ruin Shade is very similar to Blue Blood because you can swing for at least 10k and above, and as well as that, it can mirror the attack of a 11k Vanguard. And 2 Skeleton Soldiers at 2 because it's very exploitable, especially in the early game. Like when your opponent drops their own 8k vanillas, you just lose it for absolute. They take 3 shots at it, and you lose your level 2s.
Sure. So you're trying to maximize on bigger hitters in your Ruin Shade and your Blue Blood early game, whereas late game, when you need those interceptors, you have the recursion effects to bring back your Skeleton Soldiers, or to bring back Night Mist, get those extra intercepts in. And 13 grade 2s is definitely on the heavy side for any deck, but I think that if there's one deck that can pull it off, it is definitely Granblue. So we'll go on to grade 3s. This deck is more so based around Basskirk.
Well, apart from the standard 4 Basskirk, because it can also hit a 11k Vanguard on its own by Soul Charge during the mandatory effect of Soul Charging 1 against 2000k. And the other level 3s I play is Necro Shaman and Morning Mortal Dragon. Necro Shaman is only play it too because his ability is very useful, but as a Vanguard it can actually hurt a lot due to the fact that they can play. Your opponent can also most likely would drop an AK level 2 and swing for 18, and you're unable to guard. You have to waste more cards to do that. And for Immortal Dragon at 1, it only lasts for 1 turn. So even with counterblasting, retiring level 2, it's just you lose more cards.
A lot of other Granblue decks out there, in fact most other Granblue decks run Spirit Exceed. Why don't you run Spirit Exceed?
Because Spirit Exceed for me takes up a lot of space when it comes to deck building, and it takes a lot of cards. It's on its own to require to bring it out to the field. You lose a Samurai Spirit, which is important, and also a Night Spirit, which is also a 10k guard. As well as that, you're going to use other cards to put it to the drop zone, like Chappie or Seahorse or even Rune Shade, and that takes a lot more cards to do that in order to get to that level 3. And Exceed itself does not do anything throughout the game. Unlike Basskirk, he has his own last resort Soul Blast 5, Soul Blast 8, Counterblast 5 ability.
Sure. So Spirit Exceed, whilst it's great if you get it off, if you don't, your deck as a whole is a lot weaker because you're running those Chappies. You're forced to use your Guiding Zombie early on to try and get him in the bin. So do you want to talk about how a general game will play out with this deck?
So one of the combos I have is reusing Cutlass twice, so playing it Soul Blast 2 out of the Basskirk, which Soul Charges, then you draw a card, then retire this for Samurai Spirit, then you go Necro Shaman again, Counter Blast 2, bring it back again, Soul Blast 2, and draw another card again.
Yeah, there's, like I said before, there's a whole bunch of intricacies in this deck, and it's something that from the outlook, when you look at Granblue, they might not seem so strong, but once you start playing and once you see people start pulling off these combos, it's really impressive. So like the other deck checks, we'll start talking about matchups. So we'll go through the matchups and you just say what you think about it. Do you think it's in your favor? Do you think it's even? Do you think it's in your detriment? So we'll start with the first one, Royal Paladins.
Royal Paladins can go either way. Once if they had it all depends who adjusted the field first and stuff. Like it's kind of like a race when it comes to building up a full field. It can go either way, but more likely to play in Paladin's favor. Cargo in general is very iffy depending which build they specifically play. Most times when it comes to counterblasting and stuff, it's more of the 1-for-1 and stuff because they have to lose their card to get rid of my card and stuff. And at times when they go for the big push, it does hurt though, especially when we have Skeleton Soldier in the field. It can go either way. Oracles in general, depending on I say maybe based on the certain build, it's actually okay. But the hardest matchup will probably be the Full Moon, Tsukuyomi.
Yeah, I think that Tsukuyomi really combines a lot of the elements that this deck will struggle against. It has that 11k Vanguard, it has the ability to get all that card advantage when realistically you're not hitting it.
Yeah.
You're not hitting that hard. You can't really hit 21 unless it's Dragon Skull Dragon. So I personally would think that would be one of your hardest matchups. The last big clan that gets a lot of play around would be Nova Grapplers. What do you think about that? The builds there, mainly more of a crit style or more of a stand style? Because they're really the two big decks going around.
I played against both of the styles, stand and crits. They both do a similar amount of damage, but the one with crits probably would hurt the most, but at the same time it's more luck based since they have to 1 or 2 shot you. While Novas is you're able to stay in the game a lot longer, but with the stand triggers they can just punish you and snipe more rear guards and stuff. So it allows me to drop more units from my hand and counterblast more.
Sure. I think that's the case with Nova Grapplers against a lot of decks. It's really about how quickly you can stabilize, because you're pretty much always going to be on the back foot. Or if they've got the finishing power, you know, if they've got the Ashura Kaiser nuts, or if they get the they've got Stern and they go off with that. That's generally the style that a lot of Novas have been playing.
Pale Moons is you have to be very Pale Moons is it's a very tricky matchup because you have to be careful of your rear guards, especially because Pale Moons have this aspect of hitting rear guard and swapping out for another unit. So essentially they have free kill and stuff and able to attack again.
There's a glaring weakness to Mirror Demon in your grade 2 lineup. So I think that could be a problem. But apart from that, I think it's just standard.
Just have to be careful.
Pale Moon losers.
Just have to be careful with what rear guards drop as well, especially with Night Mist and Skeleton Soldier.
Sure. And what about Dark Regulars?
Dark Regulars, depending if they decide to go with the Armon or maybe a Vampire. Armon can be very difficult in late game though, but if this deck can able to build up a full field early on, the deck can easily hit a lot, can hit hard. While Dark Irregulars, the clan itself doesn't generate any extra card advantage. When it comes to Shadow Powder matchup, when it comes to dropping out rear guards, they have the slightly better advantage because their key units can come out from the deck or top decking with their own charger.
Sure.
And that makes it harder for me to guard or intercept. So basically I have to commit to more cards to even up their own rear guards. So
in general, would you say that any deck that can generate its own advantage, stuff like that, Maha, Nemain, that's a bad matchup for you?
Always a bad matchup.
Alright, so that's it for the deck check. Danny, you got any final words to say about the deck?
I just overall like this deck. It's just a I'm looking forward to see more Granblues and stuff, more units, but the deck's it's like a combo deck, you could say, so I enjoy it.
Alright guys, well, if you like combos, if you like pirates, if you like undead things, this is a good place to start. Go to your local store, buy some packs, whip this deck up. It's a lot of fun, and we'll see you next time for another deck check.